Hi, welcome to Matt Holman Golf. I'm looking at Matt Kuchar today. He's a relatively tall player at maybe 6'4", but one of the flattest swings, if not the flattest swing on the PGA Tour. He'd be known as sort of more of a one-plane swinger. Earlier in his career, he had a more upright swing, and then has really found a lot of consistency and success going to this much lower and flatter golf swing. So let's take you through it. On the left-hand side here, it doesn't really show up as much as if this camera is a little higher, but Matt Kuchar tends to hit this small fade, but he actually aims a long way right. So you would usually think, or often taught, to draw the ball you aim right, to fade the ball you aim left. But having said that, you have someone like Fred Couples, one of the most consistent drawer of the balls of all time. He would aim a long way left with his foot line, and Matt Kuchar is one of the best faders of the ball out there, and would actually aim right. So he tends to aim a little bit right with his feet, the shoulder actually a little bit left. To me, really what that helps, it makes it less likely for the lower body to outrace the upper body. So definitely a drill that I get guys to do is very similar to what Matt Kuchar is doing, dropping the right foot back and then hitting fades from that position. So due to that sort of setup, quite an orthodox first move. Where the camera's so low, everything actually looks like it's working up in front of his body more than in reality. But he starts to get his left arm quite deep by this point. So what I mean by deep is behind the centre of his chest that is often commonly taught. So his arms are very low and flat there, relative to sometimes what they would say is orthodox. But what I really like about this position now, he can just go ahead and turn hard left over a quiet lower body, and the arms and club then come down on a fantastic plane. So this club's back in a perfect position pointing at the ball, and then just continues to pull in front of him, and then he can just work that handle left and continues on plane. So very, very consistent way to play. The issue is when the arms start to get too high and in front of your body, it's very easy for, as the swing comes down, for the club to fall underneath the line that I've placed in on there, and then certain problems can happen, or your push or your hook. So where he's gone to that flatter swing, he can really just rotate hard from that upper body and chest through the ball, which pulls the club onto this great line through. So from face on, again, interestingly, you can see the club head is actually nowhere near the ball there to start with. So simple looking movement. And then what's quite noticeable with him compared to some other players, again Bubba does this, so where they turn so hard left, they sort of counteract the movement by actually leaning back more. Now maybe your Butch Harmons or your David Ledbetters, ideally you would like to see your head a little bit more back to the red line. But where their chest is so rotary, they need to sort of a movement to counteract that a little bit. So they tend to work a little bit underneath through the ball or lean back, which holds the club face a little bit more open, shallows out the angle of attack, and just really reduces that chance of anything moving to the left hand side. So in some respects you could say, okay, his swing is a little flat or unorthodox, but for me it allows him to make this fantastic transition and movement through, and a very consistent and simple way to swing.